Welcome to my autobiography identity test presentation for the English as a Second Language course 1010. Advancing Reading and Writing in Academic Contents. My name is Cynthia. I'm Chinese and international student at York University in Toronto, Canada. Living in Toronto has widened my perspective and language and culture in many ways. Being exposed to different language and culture gave me a better understanding of different experience of learning a language, particularly with English. I came to Toronto because my parents wanted me to have an exposure to Western education, while at the same time to prove my English writing and speaking skills. My first presentation when I came to Toronto was that there were many Chinese people that I expect to be. I was happy to know that there were many people I could talk to Mandarin Chinese, but it was difficult to talk to them because they all came from different parts of China that is far from my hometown. My hometown is in Hainan, which is an island in the south of China. Most of the students that I have met were from large cities, and it was difficult to have a common topic with them. My previous experience of learning English at a young age has given me more familiar with the English language, but learning new vocabulary and using it in writing and communicating through speaking using new vocabulary remain a challenge for me. However, I overcame those challenges by improving my communication skills through my ESL course before attending university. After entering in university, I learned to participate in class with more initiative by asking logical questions and by expressing my own opinion about the topic. As a second language writer, my journey is still continue when it comes to learning English. I started learning about writing in English later in elementary school during grade 5. When I was learning English for the first time, I found it interesting that the sentence structure was similar between Chinese and English. As I found out during my English lessons, the subject was always before the verb and then was followed by an object. This was my first experience in learning English writing, which was interesting because I found similar between writing in Chinese and English. During my ESL course in Niagara, my teacher George showed me how to write an essay. A typical essay usually contains 3 parts. He showed me about how an essay contains an argue, analysis of data, example to support 2 arguments and a conclusion. When I family understand the idea, I started to apply his method to introduce the argument in the first paragraph with supporting reason. Within the body paragraph, I also understood to express the reason for the argument with example for support from 3 or 4 different perspective or results. Finally, I conclusion the essay by summarizing the argument and providing the main idea of the essay. In university, I was afraid of public speaking, such as presentation in front of large classroom, or even just asking a question related to the course topic. I realized that many Chinese students have the same problem, and I am one of them. Without the courage to ask in front of a crowd, I can only go to the office hour to ask my professor about questions that I need to ask. After getting familiar with the professor, I start to notice my nervous level drop slowly. Finally, I had the courage to ask a question in class, and I asked my first question in class with a shining voice, but in a logical question structure. Learning about a new English vocabulary was always a challenge, but exciting experience. New vocabulary was always difficult for me to remember because of my unfamiliarity with the word. I was glad to meet each other Chinese students around Cambo because they were able to help me with learning new vocabulary. When I see a new word, I always ask others what it means, and they explained it to me in Chinese. However, when I search the meaning of the English word in my electoral dictionary, it shows a difficult Chinese word with the same meaning. Learning about essay structure and having the courage to ask the question really helped me improve my English communication skills. More importantly, it gave me the confidence and the motivation to continue to improve and practice more with my communication skills. I have noticed my improvement with community with native English speakers because I am able to make conversation with them while also understand what the conversation are able are about. I will continue use the my communication and speaking skills until I reach the native speak level, which I want to achieve within the next few years. Thank you for listening to my autobiography indicate test presentation for the English as a second language course 1010, advancing reading and writing in academic content.